Hello everyone, my name is Jacob George and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about faith. In the Bible, there was a great king named David. But David wasn't born into royalty. He was a shepherd boy. In the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 13, verse 14, and the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 22, it says, David was a man after God's own heart. Often, God doesn't call the greatest of people. He makes the humble and sincere of heart great. Of the 12 apostles of Jesus, most of them were fishermen who changed the world by seeking God's will above all. Going back to David, in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17, there was a war between the Israelites and the Philistines. The Israelites were led by King Saul. A man named Goliath of the Philistines' army challenged the Israelites, saying, if anyone could defeat and kill him, the Philistines would be the servants of the Israelites, else the Israelites would be their servants. Now Goliath was a fearsome man, and no one dared to challenge him. On the 40th day, David's father asked David to bring food to his elder brothers who were serving in King Saul's army. David heard about Goliath's challenge, and he went to King Saul. He said, let no man's heart fail because of Goliath. I will fight him. But Saul responded, saying, you're only a boy. But David, as a shepherd, fought lions and bears, often killing them to rescue a lamb. So David, in verse 37, responded to King Saul, saying, the God who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will save me from the hand of the Philistine. As David approached Goliath, Goliath mocked him by saying, am I a dog that you come to me with sticks? In verse 45, David responds saying, you come to me with word and spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you've defied. David kills Goliath by slinging a stone that hits Goliath on the head. There's a lot we can learn from David's life. Like he doesn't rely on himself, but on God's strength. Even the bears and lions that he faced are similar to the challenges that we face in our daily lives, that we overcome with God by our side, preparing us for bigger and greater Goliaths to defeat in the future. And we need not be afraid, as it says in Romans chapter 8, verse 31, for if God is with us, who can be against us? Multiple passages in the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel, David inquires of the Lord. Even though he's fighting enemies he's defeated before, he still consults with God. And God at sometimes says, go ahead, and at others not to. Why would David do that? He's the king. He's done this before. But he knew he was just a mortal, and that God's ways are above ours. He obeyed God with unwavering faith. God keeps his promises to those who trust in him. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9 says, know therefore, the Lord your God is God, the faithful God who maintains covenant loyalty with those who love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. David was a man of prayer and constantly sought God's will. And he's rightly called a man after God's own heart. But King David was not always perfect. he let his guard down and slipped too. Though married, he committed adultery with a married woman and had her husband killed soon after. When David sinned against God, committing murder and adultery, it's interesting to see that God did not talk to David directly, although he's done so in the past. It shows us that sin can push us away from God. But remember, there's always hope and mercy. This time, God spoke through the prophet Nathan, who told David of his sins. Here we see that sometimes God talks to us through different people. The devil can do the same too. I think the best way to differentiate is to see what the purpose is. Is it for the glory of God or not? I admire Prophet Nathan for standing up against King David, for having the courage to do so while the king can kill him, though all the king can do is destroy the body. After Prophet Nathan called out King David on his sins, David didn't stay comfy in his sinful life. He turned back to God, seek forgiveness, and repented. Similar events have happened in more recent times, with that of King Henry VIII of England and St. Thomas More. St. Thomas More proclaimed the truth, but this time the king made another decision, having him executed for opposing him. St. Thomas More's beautiful words were, "I die the king's good servant, but God's first." Don't be comfortable with sin. It clouds the mind and you lose sight of the truth. Don't be disheartened if you keep slipping. God sees your perseverance. Even if it's repeated sin, God is always there to forgive you if you turn back to Him with a truly contrite heart. David wrote a beautiful penitential psalm seeking forgiveness. In Psalms 51, verse 10, it says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and put a new and steadfast spirit within me." David not only asked God for forgiveness, but asked Him to cleanse and change him. In the book of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 20, Jesus talks about faith as tiny as a mustard seed that can move a mountain. Faith, no matter how small, and what may seem trivial to you, is seen by God and can be made greater. For trusting in God is a journey. You may face stumbling blocks along the way, but I assure you, God will never leave your side. It's only you who makes the call to turn to God or to reject Him. He loves you as much as the East is from the West. And on the cross, He proved His love for all humanity, for all who are alive, who have lived, and who will live. No matter what your struggles may be, or how many times you may have slipped, or the mountains in your life, take courage, for God has overcome the world. And with Him by your side, you can overcome any Goliath. For faith in mere people may fail, but there's one whose perfection in all its glory, who will never let you down. Never let the devil dishearten you. God never ever gives up on you. In the book of James, chapter 4, verses 7 and 8 says, "Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.